All of you completed the
Yes,
MCQ
yes,
test 1?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have
Um,
completed.
Friends, please take the cyber security case studies. You remember I had sent cyber security case studies? Cyber security case studies. So what I have done is I have listed all the cyber security case studies that you are supposed to study for the internal test that I have already sent. Please look at your WhatsApp as well as email. You will get that copy. Take that itself as your assignment, writing assignment. We have to do different types of assignment. One is multiple choice question test. Some faculty members they give like Sridevi, she had given short answers types. So that way, different things. When it comes to the writing, because in the test and in the examination, you may have to answer some high level questions. For that, some practice is required. In cybersecurity, you need to study, you have to do many things. That's why what I thought is case studies I have listed. I let me give that itself as an assignment. That assignment, what you work, will be asked in the test. Similar to the case studies, I'll be giving the innovative, possible innovative questions that may appear in the internal test or examinations. Like for every test, 2 or 3 questions I will give. So that files up to some six, for example, 6 questions, innovative questions, and some 6 or 7 case studies, whatever I had given already. That you solve. That itself is the assignment. Let me see how I can take it. You be prepared with the those assignments and the case studies. As of now, you can refer to different websites and compile your answers. Keep it ready, and you have to write and submit handwritten. The department has asked for getting handwritten. That's why we will see whether we can get it scanned, or I may ask you to the submission of those handwritten assignments at the end of the semester or when the college reopens. But a very first level, you have to compile and keep it ready, and you have to submit the soft copy of that. After that, because in the soft copy, when you compile and take from different sources, you'll be having lot of informations. All those informations you cannot write for one question in a 3 hours examination or in 1.5 hours examination in the internal test. You have to reduce your answers to 1 page or 1.5 page. That is maximum. So that preparation is required. So after compiling your information from different sources, you have to reduce that answer for 1.5 page and write and submit to me. So that is required. So writing assignment. So please understand, writing assignment, handwritten assignment will be with respect to innovative questions and case studies questions only in cyber security elective. Okay, please have this understanding. Also, MCQ test you have to write. As I had seen, you almost all of you have answered with a good score. Also, I will release the score shortly. That's one. And the MCQ test 2 also I will be sending. So either Thursday or Friday I will send, and within 2 or 3 days you can answer. And MCQ test also, some descriptive questions or answers will be there which help you to understand the concept. So that I am doing. And I also am giving a lot of materials. Please go through that material. Okay, welcome back to this 18th online video class on identity theft. Friends, you have seen the phishing, different phishing techniques are there. So this is for our conceptual understanding. Some notation, some figure is given here, which shows the phishing, not FISHING. So here we are talking about phishing and identity theft. The prime purpose of doing phishing is to uh, collect, steal identity of a person. Therefore, we can avoid identity theft, okay, identity stealing by avoiding phishing. That's one understanding that we can have at this point of time. Phishing is collecting of information fraudulently without the permission of the person, right? And privacy is also private data. It may be a private data or non-private data, a confidential data. By using those confidential data, something can be done, and the victim will suffer, right? That's what happens in case of phishing. Identity theft is the really a big problem. And especially if you look at the different reports, American reports with respect to the identity theft, or Indian report with respect to the identity theft, will disclose many of the things, because the main source from which point a crime starts is phishing and identity theft. If you are able to curb, avoid phishing or identity theft, so many problems can be avoided. Therefore, the technology should be used in that direction. People with their common reaction, interaction, they tend to give some information. But if a random person with an official looking business card approached you and asked for your social security card or driving license and other sensitive information, you probably won't give it to them, because he's asking in person. You will ask him, who are you, what is your ID card, and for what purpose you are collecting all the information. But generally what is happening on the internet, we are not doing all these regular traditional way of authenticating the person. See, let us say if we are a client, the client has to authenticate the server. Generally, server authenticates the client, right? That mutual authentication is very, very important. That will happen generally in a traditional way. When a stranger comes and talk to us, we will carefully talk to him, and once he becomes friend, then only we may share some of the information. But on the net, it is easy for anybody to collect the information. So when a strange person asks us the social security card or driving license or other sensitive information, we may not give to him, because people are more easily duped, okay. uh, right, in traditional way we are not giving, but when it comes to the online interaction, easily will be giving. It's far easier to trick users, which is why phishing attacks are so rampant, right? So, phishing refers to the act of obtaining victims' sensitive information by posing as trusted companies and organizations. It is usually carried out through spoofed emails and spoofed websites that urgently ask for various types of information. There are many potential consequences, and identity theft is among the very worst of them. So we have to understand what is that. Personal data gets compromised. Phishers with identity theft on their minds can do a whole lot of damage with seemingly small amounts of information. When you fill out a credit card application, for example, you typically need a handful of things. For you have to enter social security number in case of US. Here in India, it may be Aadhaar card number, current address, okay, and your occupation, your PAN card details, for example, right, your ration card details, for example, in case of India. All these informations they will easily obtain once a cyber criminal has gained access to one of your online account. You need not give. If they just access some of your online account, all these informations, because when you are downloading some software or when you are filling some application form, if the application form has made it compulsory to fill all these details, then automatically you will fill all the details and they may misuse it. Here, where the Privacy Information comes into picture, Data Protection Act comes into picture, whether the web applications or mobile apps can be authorized to collect personal information of a person. Can they share those information without his consent, or with his consent, to whom he can share the data? All these becomes privacy issues and have to be implemented in compliance with the IT Act and in compliance with Indian Penal Code, right? That has to happen. But here they won't ask the details, right? So when a particular application is collecting the data, web app, mobile app is collecting the data, you may restrict its collection of data and sharing of data. But the in a phishing or in a fake application, web application, fake mobile app, or when they unauthorizedly access some of your online account, all these data are obtained and identity theft happens. Cleaning up identity theft is not easy. It is easy for us to lose the data, but it is easy for us to lose our identity, or by identity theft people will misuse our identity. As a consequence, people, when they're filing the case, if they go as per the electronic evidences, the ignorant person also may come into picture, and proving yourself you are not the person of the who committed crime is very, very challenging. And cleaning up, that's what, cleaning up ID theft is not easy. It is vastly preferable to avoid becoming a victim of identity theft than to try to clean up the mess later. You'll have to jump through a whole lot of hoops in order to prove to banks and creditors that your identity has been stolen. In the meantime, your credit rating will be short and you won't be able to take out new loans or mortgages. You might even have trouble finding employment because you are in some cyber case. Sorry. Avoid identity theft by being aware of the signs of phishing is a major thing that we have to think of. If identity theft is often caused by phishing, it stands to reason that you should do your best to avoid falling prey to the many phishing attacks that take place every year. You educate yourself about the common signs of phishing, learn how to identify spoofed emails and spoofed website, exercise extreme caution where you do any sort of business online, guard your personal information as carefully as you can. Undoing the damages that can occur due to phishing and identity theft is not easy, and we have to look at how to avoid phishing in the first place is the best way to go. But friends, here I would like to focus on, right, spoofed emails and spoofed website. So take it as your learning assignment. You have to look at what is a spoofed email and spoofed websites, how people will do spoofing of emails and spoofing of website. Lot many information is available in the internet. Please go through that, take it as an exercise. So I'm just avoid identity theft by being aware of sign of phishing. Here we have to see then how to avoid the phishing. Friends, I am asking you to look at these phishing.org, 10 ways to avoid phishing scams, and also explore slideshare.net. Here also the details are given. Now coming to the identity theft, okay, presentation, and the one more point is phishing.org, 10 ways of avoiding phishing. Let me go to this. So you can also search some some good information is given here, right? 1 minute, I will go to this. Uh, So please go to the phishing.org, 10 ways to avoid phishing scams. So here you will get all the information, different 10 ways how to avoid phishing. So you may be asked in the examination, write some general guidelines of how to avoid phishing. That is one. Give the technical solutions for avoiding the phishing, right? So please go through it. So point number one, keep informed about phishing techniques. New phishing scams are being developed all the time. Without staying on top of these new phishing techniques, you could inadvertently fall prey to one. Keep your eyes peeled for news about new phishing scams. By finding about them as early as possible, you'll be at much lower risk of getting snared by one. For IT administrators, ongoing security awareness training and simulated phishing for all the user is highly recommended. Please see what is security awareness training, and lot many informations are available within the phishing. So keep listening and watching, register to different portals where it keeps sending email and notifications regarding new different phishing techniques. That's what you can do. For example, when I want to search some information, for example, health information security analytics. So some web portal wherein I have registered, I am doing some research with respect to the medical records and cyber security. I'll be keep receiving different emails and webinar links and different papers in academia and in ResearchGate. And these portals also you'll be getting a lot more information which will discuss about new phishing techniques. So please do that. So that's one idea of getting yourself educated with the phishing techniques. Think before you click. It is a common best practice that you have to adopt in order to avoid phishing. It is fine to click on links when you are on trusted sites, but clicking on links that appears in a random emails and instant messages, however, is not such a smart move. Please be careful when you are clicking on some link. Install an anti-phishing toolbar. So I have asked you to look at the different simulation tools, social engineering toolkit, for example. So you can download and you can use the template available there, and you can simulate the phishing. So you do that, and also at the same time install an anti-phishing toolbar. Most popular internet browser are customized to do this anti-phishing now, but such toolbars run quick checks on the site that you are visiting and compares them to lists of known phishing sites. Please understand that even the modern browser can handle only known phishings. There are unknown phishing, new techniques that are coming, and people are working all the time to come up with the new phishing techniques. So if your browser is not having that intelligence, it cannot handle. Verify a site security. It is natural to be a little wary about supplying sensitive financial information online as long as you are on a secure website. However, you should not run into any trouble before submitting any information. Make sure that site's URL begins with HTTPS, and there should be a closed lock icon near the address bar. Check for the site security certificate as well. If you get a message starting a certain website may contain malicious files, do not open the website. Okay, all these informations are important. I had asked a question also with respect to this secure socket layer SSL in the MCQ test 1. You may be remembering. Check your online accounts regularly. That's the one you have to do. Keep your browser up to date. Use firewalls. Be wary of pop-ups. Never give out personal information. Use antivirus software. Friends, please go through these things very, very in depth. You should be able to recollect those informations, those 10, and you should be able to write the elaborated answer. Now, let us go to this set of PPT uh, slides. So this is a one case of identity theft. So this is some informations are important and useful how to prevent identity theft. As we have discussed so far, identity theft happens when someone uses your personal information like your name, social security number, credit card number without your permission to commit fraud or other crimes. For that purpose, they will use. And what they do with the such identity theft may be clear for you already. The credit card fraud happens, opens a credit card in your name and or change the billing address of your cards. Phone and utilities open in, so you the card transaction happens in your account, but the since the billing address is changed, you will not be knowing what transaction has happened. Phone and utilities open a new account in your name or run up charges on your existing accounts. Bank or financial create fake checks in your name or account number, write bad checks in your name, make a fake ATM card to impersonate yours or to take a loan out in your name. Government use your DL information, driving license information to get a DL with your name and other and their pictures. So, for example, a driving license indicates national identity in United States of America, and other card in our case. Use your social security number to get benefits. File fraudulent tax returns with your information. Income tax filing happens with the fake details. So all these things can happen. So there are identification of some prominent frauds through the identity theft, credit card, government document, benefit, phone and utility, employee fraud, bank fraud, loan fraud, and other types of frauds. You should be able to name them. Number of ID theft, police reports. This is just a pie chart which indicates that out of packet expenses $631 per consumer. This is the expenses with respect to that. Please go through it. Common techniques used by TIM is dumpster diving, skimming, phishing, and social engineering. So, as per our syllabus, phishing and identity theft is given. That means we are not going in depth with the social engineering or skimming technique or dumpster diving technique. But however, since these are very much related, you can quickly go through it and have just an idea of dumpster diving, going through your trash to find mail or information with your name on it. Skimming is stealing credit card numbers by using a special hidden device when you are processing a transaction on your card. Phishing, as you are aware, make a fake website of a bank or a company and send mails asking for account information verification. Social engineering, using very special speaking techniques to get people to give out confidential information. These are the common techniques used by thieves. Friends, you have to remember these techniques. They may ask you in the examination to name the common techniques used by thieves to identity stealing. So in that case, dumpster diving, skimming, phishing, and social engineering, you have to remember. So a little bit in depth into this. Prevent dumpster diving. Invest in a small paper shredder. They can be purchased at a local retail store. So these things, just I am requesting you to go through it, and especially we have to think of preventing the identity theft by the technique of phishing. We have seen 10 different techniques. So those techniques are given here in a with a few points. Please refer to the 10 phishing avoiding techniques what we have gone through. So please focus on that. So um, the credit card and debit card rights, credit card loss or fraudulent charges, maximum liability under federal law for unauthorized use of credit card is $50. Okay, similarly we have some act in IT. This is another assignment. I am requesting you to see what is the how actually the when I have discussed the IT Act 2000 and different cases I had discussed with respect to the credit cards also. That's why I am not explaining you now what are the credit cards frauds and how they are dealt under IT Act. I am leaving it to you as an assignment, okay, study assignment that you have to explore, because you will get a question with respect to credit card or debit card fraudulent usage, stealing credit card information and making the transactions on your name. So when such a crime happens, under what section of IT Act that will be dealt, what is the punishment, what is the section name, and what are such cases happened in India, you please go through it. So this is with respect to the identity theft. So you can use these PPT slides for your further studies. And I want to stop at this stage the class with respect to identity theft, and also I am requesting you to explore these two URLs. So in the next class, we'll go to the next topic. I am requesting all of you to do some project-based learning, do something useful, and you can also think of writing some good papers that will definitely help you. And you have to start, you have to focus more on this. I am uploading this PPT onto this video lecture onto the YouTube. Please go through it. I thank everybody for patiently listening and participating in the class. So have a good day, and also be doing your assignments and multiple choice questions to keep yourself up to date and to have the continuity in the subject learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Stop sharing.